Meanwhile, let's talk more specifically about what's going on with those regional banks, because as we mentioned, you take a look at shares of Zions, of Western Alliance, plunging the entire financial sector right now after both banks disclosed problems with loans involving alleged fraud. Zions revealing a $50 million charge-off for a loan underwritten by its wholly owned subsidiary, California Bank and Trust, while Western Alliance saying it's dealing with a borrower that failed, quote, to provide collateral loans in first position. Here to break it down further is Herman Chan. He is senior analyst of U.S. regional banks over at Bloomberg Intelligence. So, Herman, I mean, you see the reaction in markets right now. The entire sector plunging, the S&P 500 falling right along with it. Put this in context. What we've learned so far, does it justify some of the nervousness that is really on display?
Look, Zions yesterday after the close reported about a $50 million charge. So the market cap change today across the banking space vastly outdwarfs this credit charge that Zions is taking. What the market's really looking at is, as Sinead mentioned earlier, credit underwriting, controls within the banks, who they're lending to, client selection, and specifically the lending to non-bank financial institutions. So the loan in question for Zions and Western Alliance is a non-bank loan. This is sort of what we've seen across the linkage with Tricolor as well, where banks are taking a bit more credit risk with non-bank lending. And so now there's questions, is this really safe for the industry? And trying to parse through what is inside the non-bank credit within the banking system itself.
And just to make sure I'm understanding you, so you're saying, when it comes to non-bank lending, that basically they're competing with those lenders and that might have pushed them further out the risk spectrum?
They're lending to the non-bank lenders. Okay. So there is derivative risk when the non-bank lender is creating fraud or there's issues with the underlying collateral, which we're seeing with this Cantor loan and also with Tricolor as well.
So you take a look at how this is being expressed in KRE. This is, of course, an ETF that tracks all of the regionals. Up at the top, at the bottom, you see Zions and Western Alliance dragging down the ETF. There's only one name that is higher today. That's Triumph. So really, you have 147 regional banks that are lower right now. Are there any specific names we should be keeping an eye on in terms of what might be a shoe to drop next?
Yeah. The issue is that when there's instances of fraud, it's really hard to decipher from my seat as a bank analyst, right? We're looking at the credit trends within the balance sheets, and it's hard to really suss through what's really going on. So this is what's really creating a lot of anxiety in the markets today, because there's really a lot of unknowns, and it's more pervasive. We've seen fraud at 3 companies now, and is there more to come? That's really the question that the market's trying to suss out.
All right, Herman, great to get some context with you. Of course, we'll be following this story closely. I have to imagine we'll be speaking again soon. That is Herman Chan. He is senior analyst of U.S. regional banks at Bloomberg Intelligence.